What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. So good to have you here. So listen, saw James Gunn's Superman last night. I posted my out of the theater reaction, but I wanted to go ahead and do my full review. I was gonna try to wait until I saw it again, uh, because I'm about to go check it out in 3D. But I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my thoughts out there. I know a lot of people are going to go see it tonight and tomorrow and wanted to hear my thoughts. So I said, let me jump on here and put my thoughts out there for you all. So, Superman, full review. This is a non-spoiler review. And do me a favor, guys, when you talk about in the comments, don't spoil, because there's some special moments in the movie that I don't want spoiled for fans who haven't seen it yet. But as always, the premise for this, according to Rotten Tomatoes, when Superman gets drawn into conflicts at home and abroad, his actions are questioned, giving tech billionaire Lex Luthor the opportunity to get the Man of Steel out of the way for good. Will intrepid reporter Lois Lane and Superman's four-legged companion KRYPTO be able to help him before it's too late? Now, right now, as it stands, the critics' review is at an 82% with 282 reviews, and the fans review is at a 95%. Now it was 96 after the Amazon one, but that was only a few hundred reviews. But now it's had 2,500 verified ratings at a 95%, and let me tell you, it is well deserved. So, what did I like about this movie? This cast is fantastic. Um, David Corn Sweat is Superman, y'all. He is Superman. He embodies Superman. He is fantastic, and I look forward to seeing him in as this character down the road. He does really good. He plays a great Clark and a great Superman. But I will say this on that note: is this movie is about Superman. So you don't get a lot of Clark. You don't get a lot of David Cornsweet's Clark. And that's going to be a part of one of the things I didn't like about the film. But this is a Superman movie, and he shines as Superman 100%. Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. She does a fantastic job. The whole inquisitive reporter shines through in this. She does a really great job. She's believable, but also kind of similar to how well, I don't want to spoil anything, but she's really great, really great. And this is a really great version of Lois Lane. I loved it. Nicholas Holt, if you saw my reaction, in my opinion, steals the show. He is great as Lex Luthor. And the emotional range that he shows within the Lex Luthor character is phenomenal. It's phenomenal, y'all. He really did great. And I mentioned it in my out of the theater reaction. There's an element, I'm not saying he's exactly like it, but there definitely is a all-star Superman influence to how he portrays Lex, at least in my opinion. I saw some elements from that stood out. I'm going to say this. I think he is the best Lex Luthor live adaptation we have seen, and I love Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. But my favorite Lex Luthor is my man from Smallville, honestly. Despite the fact that I grew up on Gene Hackman, I thought young Lex was dope. But Nicholas Hoult kills it. Kills it. But the great thing about this movie is there's supporting cast members that really stand out. Edie Gathigi, I'm sorry, I killed your name, man. He played Mr. Terrific. Great, man. Anthony Kerrigan is great. Jimmy Olsen is fantastic, y'all. Jimmy Olsen was a surprise hit to me. So The cast is fantastic in this movie, and I'm not mentioning everybody because again, there's a lot of standout um, parts that stood out. Perry White, yeah, so many great cast and crew members, and I'm gonna that's gonna lead to um, something I didn't like about the movie, but let's not start there. Let's start with what I liked about the film. Crypto. We're gonna go right into it, right into crypto. Crypto. A lot of people, when the first trailer came out, immediately hit me up like, "Bro, crypto, really? Come on, man!" And then the internet blew up about it. Some people loved it. Some people hated the idea of having crypto. I loved it immediately. Immediately, I was like, "Yeah, this is a great idea." Why? Because we're trying to James Gunn is trying to introduce uh, a, a DCU that we've never seen before, and why not introduce crypto? Because we've never seen it before. So, and he's Superman lore. It's not like some made up character. So I loved it. But the way he is used, and this is going to, I'm definitely going to not spoil. I'm going to try my best not to spoil, but the way he is used in this movie is so great. This is not, for those who are worried, this is not the Superman and crypto show at all. Um, he is used uh, in a very smart way. It moves the story around. It makes sense, and it's needed. Um, the relationship between Superman and crypto and what crypto does has major impacts on this film, and so he plays a pivotal part in the story, even though you don't see him all the time. So just to be clear, again, this is not the Superman crypto show. He's not all throughout the movie, but when he shows up, there's purpose, there's reason, and it makes sense, and it moves the story along, and it's perfect the way he is used. And every dog fan that was in the theater that I was in, anytime he showed up and did something, there were either cheers or oh or yay. Like he is a big part of the movie, and I think you will love it. I'm looking at my notes here. There's a lot of talk about James Gunn's message and woke and all sort of nonsense. I'm not gonna go into that, but I will say that James Gunn definitely wrote a story that has a message and underlining messages in it, and it's not preachy at all, but they're relevant and they make sense. And one of those is social media, news media, and how it is utilized to manipulate people. I thought it was great. And I promise you, that is not a spoiler, but I thought the way that's interwoven into the story is phenomenal because in 2025, social media is a driving factor in how people deal with each other and how we get our news and what we do with that news. And so this was a relevant point to make. So this wasn't like, uh, some preachy topic. This was relevant and real. And I dug it. I thought it was genius how James Gunn uses that in this movie. Um, yeah, Clark and Lois's relationship, the chemistry between David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan is really great. It's a core part of the film, and I love it because it's not a it's a real relationship with lots of love and issues, and it's a new relationship. You can tell it's a new relationship, and that they are trying to maneuver this new relationship. So it's not a perfect relationship. It's not like, oh, I love you, you love me. No, it's not that. This is a brand new relationship, and they're trying to figure things out, and that is played out in front of the audience in this film, and in a great way. Uh, Jimmy Olsen, like I said, is a surprise um, treat. in this movie. I loved it. Um, and of course, Mr. Terrific steals every scene that he is in. Um, what a great character! For those who don't know, definitely take a look him up. But the way he's portrayed is fantastic, and I hope to see more of him because he killed it. He's a scene stealer for sure. Um, the flight scenes, yo, dope. And I know that like Top Gun Maverick was a heavy influence in how they film these flight scenes. Some of the best Superman flying you will ever see. And it is so good that I can't wait to watch it a second time because it happens a lot and there's some stuff that you miss. And similar to Top Gun Maverick, I saw Top Gun Maverick and then immediately went back to watch it again because what I saw was so, oh snap, that it needed a second watching just to sink in. And that's the same with Superman, especially the flight scenes. It is, oh, now there's going to be, in my opinion, there's going to be some camera shots, some cinematography that I think some people might have issue with. And I like the choices. I like the choices a lot, but I know there will be some people that will have some issue with some of the camera angles and choices, and I get it. Like I can see why. I dug it because it matched the tone of the film, and so it wasn't ever throwing me off because everything kind of looked similar from a cinematic standpoint. But I can understand how some people are going to be like, "Oh, well, that was a bad choice," but I loved it. Same with the fight scenes. Superman is Superman, y'all. And one of the things that I loved about the Man of Steel is that you got to see Superman like use his Superman powers in a brutal way. I had been looking forward to seeing that, and I remember when it came out, I was talking to my cousin. And I was like, "Listen, all I want to see in this film is Superman be Superman and kick some ass, but have to like go through some things. Like I want him to be tested, and I want him to have to fight his way out of stuff." And Zack Snyder came through. Um, James Gunn does something similar, but in a more comic way. So it's not as real and brutal as like when I say real, you based in realism because clearly it's not like real fighting. These are superheroes, but it's not as brutal as the fight scenes in Man of Steel, but just as good in my opinion. But the point I'm trying to make is James Gunn didn't shy away from Superman being Superman. He didn't tone it down. He gave Superman real conflict that he had to overcome a lot. So you get to see Superman, and I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. The fight scenes were dope. Superman be Superman in this, y'all. So yeah, the fight scenes is I enjoyed it very much. And what I really love about this movie is, James Gunn said he mentioned a few sources, and he mentioned All Star Superman being one of them as sources of inspiration for this movie. But in my opinion, it felt like I was watching the Superman animated series on screen, live action adaptation of it, and I loved it. Loved it. And I heard someone say that prior as a reaction um prior to me watching this, and I was like, if it's like that, if that's how it is, this movie is going to be amazing. And it was like watching a Superman animated series. There's the kaiju and robots, and there's science. There's a heavy science fiction element to this movie, similar to the cartoon, but it made sense. Like James Gunn put it all together in a live action format that makes sense. So if you were a fan of or are a fan of Superman the animated series or in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, you are going to love this film. Now, if you're not into that sort of thing, you might have some issue because there's definitely science fiction in this movie. There's definitely an animated comic book. This is a comic book movie, y'all. Like, this is a comic book movie. And if you're looking for something grounded in realism, this is not it. Um, but if you're a fan of that, I think you still can be a fan of this for sure. It is very enjoyable. But this is was like watching Superman the animated series come to life on screen. Uh, Lots of dope comic book and cartoon Easter eggs that literally made me shout out loud a few times uh, in the audience. So, you have to be really in it. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. But if you're really in it like I am, you are gonna love this movie because there are a lot of different comic book cartoon Easter eggs that you're gonna go, oh, and characters that I love. Like I said, even if you're not, this movie's great, but the Easter eggs, some you might not catch, but I did, and I loved it, loved it, loved it. Um, there's some really cool cameos. This is not a film that is leaning on cameos, just FYI. So if you're looking and expecting to see a bunch of really cool people get dropped into the scenes like Deadpool and Wolverine, it's not like that. But there are some cool cameos in the film. Just FYI. I hope that wasn't a spoiler. I don't think it was. And I believe, lastly, on the things that I like, I went on a tangent, y'all. I'm sorry, but I really enjoyed this movie. Is that the DCU is set up very well. James Gunn set up the DCU very well. If this is the direction that he is going, I'm all in. I'm excited. One of the things this movie had to do was not only give us a new Superman, but introduce the DCU so that you can understand what to expect coming forward. And he nailed it. I have hope in what the DCU will look like. And as a fan of Man of Steel, as a fan of Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, let me be clear on that. And as a fan of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I have hope in what DCU is going to bring based off of this movie and based off what I see. Because I thought Creature Commandos was dope. Now that's animation, but it's still part of DCU. And now we're about to get Peacemaker season 2 and Lanterns and Supergirl next year. I'm excited. I am excited for what the DCU is going to bring. So with that being said, let me wrap this up. Let me talk about the things I didn't like, and then I'm going to give my number grade. So the things I didn't like don't hurt the movie at all. You get dropped off in Superman's world. I believe it's 3 years after his appearance. So he's, excuse me, 3 years he's been doing his thing, is what I meant to say. Sorry. Not 3 years since his appearance. He would be a baby. He's been doing his thing pretty much for 3 years. So you get dropped off in his world. So because of that, there are some fantastic characters and the actors do great, but you're not going to get a lot of them because this is a Superman movie. This isn't, you know, like Richard Donner's film or Man of Steel, where this is an origin story. This is Superman. You're knee deep in it, and so because of that, some characters don't get a lot of shine, and I wish I could have seen more of them. But that doesn't take away from the movie. And actually, I hope to see more of them in future Superman films. But if I had to pick something I didn't like, that would be, and that's being nitpicky because when they're on screen, they kill it. I just wish I could have seen more of it, but I understand why. So the point I'm trying to make is, I'm saying it's something I didn't like, but I get it, right? Um, but it just, well, this leads to my next point. The pacing on this movie, you're going to sit down and 90 minutes are going to go by. You're not even going to realize it. This thing goes um, in a good way. In a good way. Like, you really won't know time has passed. But the challenge with that is because they're introducing and there's so much stuff going on that it almost feels like there was a longer version of this movie that James Gunn was told, "Nah, bro, you got to dial that back," because it goes from start to finish. Boom, 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 boom. And they're introducing a lot of stuff. And James Gunn does a fantastic job of doing the dance and making sure everything makes sense. And, you're not getting lost in the translation. And also, it still remains a Superman movie. So he does a master class of doing that. But because of that, again, I think some characters are fantastic and they don't get a lot of shine. And it just and it feels like there's a longer version of this film out there. So those are very strange negatives because they're not really negatives. It's just more like me being nitpicky. And if I had to choose something, those would be the things I would say I didn't like. And that's it, y'all. Like for real, for real. This movie was great to me. Great. So with that being said, on a scale of 1 to 5, one being zone out, skip this one, it's trash. 5 being it's fantastic, a must see. Wow. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I'm going to give it a 4.5. Um, Mainly because of what I just mentioned in regards to pacing. There's a lot of stuff being introduced. And again, James Gunn does a masterclass of putting it all together, but it's a lot. And this movie flies. Like you sit down and it's over. Like you're like, oh, whoa. Like that's like I have to go watch it again because there's so much happening and you're feeling joy about this piece and that piece, and then oh snap, the movie's over. So uh I'm gonna give it a 4.5. My mind might change after watching it a second time. It might be a 5 out of 5. Like I low key am thinking that, but I'm gonna go 4.5. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 for now. Great movie, must see. Check it out in IMAX, please, or the biggest theater you can find. It is an amazing movie. James Gunn did a fantastic job. This is Superman is back. DCU is in good hands, y'all. He did it. Let me know your thoughts. Do me a favor, y'all. Please don't spoil in the comments, okay? But let's chat. Let's talk about it. Thanks so much for watching. Do me a favor. If you like the content, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. And hit that little alarm button as well so you can get alerted whenever I post new content. And also, do me a favor, share with other people who you think would like this content as well. We have a big goal of 1,000 subscribers we're trying to get to, and we need your help. Appreciate it. Till the next one. Peace.